Yoga is an ancient Indian tradition, heritage, as well as a science. Sage Patanjali provides 8 systematic steps in achieving the final goal of yoga, which is nothing but understanding an individual's self evolution and achieving it. In this Ashtanga Yoga or the 8 limbed yoga, he prescribes certain tools as to be followed in the beginning and certain tools and techniques to be followed as external aspects and some other aspects to be followed as internal methods. So there is a platform on which you build your own discipline. Hence yoga is also called as a self-discipline. The 2 limbs which creates that platform are the yamas and niyamas. So after yamas and niyamas, you have systematic practices and techniques which can help you to progress from physical level to mental level to emotional and spiritual levels in a way whereby it can elevate you. So now let us look at the first 2 limbs which are very important. These are called yamas and niyamas. Yamas and niyamas are the moral code of conduct which each one of us have to follow. Yoga is used in many other ways. For some people it is only physical postures, while some others it is breathing. While for a big population it is only meditation. But whichever way we practice yoga, we need to follow yamas and niyamas to begin with. Ahimsa satya asteya brahmacharya parigraha yamaha. So when you really want to understand what are those aspects which are very essential for you to avoid, for you to manage in such a way that it is going to create a positive coherence in your body and mind. Ahimsa is one word which is very well known as non-violence. Non-violence is always related to physical entities in general, but ahimsa is not limited to harming an individual, creating violence at the physical level, but also at the mental and emotional levels. Satya is being truthful, very difficult to follow, but at times if we are truthful, that can help us avoid lots of issues which probably can emerge out by telling lies. Hence Satya plays a very important role in everybody's day-to-day living. Ahimsa satya asteya. Asteya always stands for non-stealing nature of an individual. Here stealing doesn't mean once again physical stealing. So stealing at the mental level, stealing what doesn't belong to me, something which is not part of my earning should never be aspired for. Ahimsa satya asteya brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is in general related to celibacy, but it's not limited to physical celibacy. Brahmacharya is any sankalpa you take and follow it as a rigorous practice. Here we say that you take an objective, take a goal for your life and follow it as a mahavrata. So then you reach that point. Till then you should never be distracted by anything else. So aparigraha is the last important aspect of yamas. Aparigraha stands for non-attachment. Aparigraha also stands for not going behind something which is going to give you physical and material comforts. Aparigraha also talks or looks at how you can develop a process of detachment from those worldly activities. So we have a tendency of telling that unless I am attached to my job, how do I achieve my goals? So that attachment is certainly needed, but you are asking me to detach. Unfortunately, it is not that kind of a simple attachment, but the attachment when it leads or attachment driven by your ego, that becomes a problem for any individual. So the process of detachment has to start mentally. So it is not an easy job, but the detachment is not to do the action. We are supposed to do the action, but withdraw from the fruit of action. That's what is said in Karma Yoga. Important role, create that moral code. Niyamas are also very important as observances. Out of niyamas, what we always look at as the important five, which essentially we all need to follow. In niyamas, we talk about Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana. Shaucha is being clean and pure. So purity at heart is what everybody says. Purity in mind is what everyone demands for. Purity with at emotional level can make any individual's life very pleasurable. So Santosha is being content. There is no end to our achievements in life, however we want to, wherever we want to progress. But is there a kind of line which says that contentment has to be up to one point, and beyond which this is not contentment, this becomes greed? There is no such definitions. It is very much personalized. Tapas is the third thing, which is once again going to help us in disciplining ourselves. Tapas is any activity we take has to be followed in a way which is unperturbed. It is said that I am standing like a rock. I am doing a task. When I am doing a task, I don't know what is happening in my surrounding. That's the kind of involvement with which I do. So tapas is not just penance, what you sit in a Padmasana and try to achieve in the form of meditation, what has been seen as sages used to do. But they used to achieve or obtain lots of siddhis while doing tapas. Swadhyaya is self-study. Why do we say self-study is very important? Because it is always said that we get knowledge from different sources. But finally, who has to digest it, assimilate it and utilize it? It's me. So Swadhyaya helps me to do this kind of processing of information what I get from different sources. Ishvara Pranidhana talks about the most important principle, that is ultimate surrender. My ego can be nurtured only by surrendering to somebody. And it's also difficult to identify whom do I surrender. Hence it is said surrender to divinity. Surrendering to divinity is going to help me in understanding that there is a bigger force which is guiding me all the time. Whatever I am achieving here today is also because of somebody facilitating me to achieve it, somebody guiding me to achieve it. Hence, Ishvara Pranidhana, which is very essential component which has to be adopted into our day-to-day life. Hence, yamas and niyamas have to be taken as part of this discipline, self-discipline called yoga, which can subsequently help us practice all those other techniques of yoga effectively and to reach that final goal, that is spiritual absorption. We are not talking about moksha and kaivalya for normal individuals, but each one of us need to elevate ourselves, and that is possible through all these practices of yoga.
In the Ashtanga Yoga, asana stands third. It is the third limb of yoga. When we say asana, how does Maharshi Patanjali describe? Maharshi says, Sthiram Sukham Asanam. This is the sutra. When we say sthirata, it means stability. Sukha means feeling happy. That means you have to feel comfortable. So Sthiram Sukham Asanam is a beautiful definition of asana or the yogic posture. When you stand in a posture for some time, how should you feel? You should feel happy about it. Now you are asked to stand in Vrukshasana. Your one leg is down and your another leg is on your thigh. So in that position, you will have to feel very comfortable. If you are dancing around and you're not able to balance, that is not what asana is all about. So therefore, when we say sthirata, you will have to understand that you need to be stable in the posture as long as you can, and you also should feel comfortable. Therefore, it's not about how each person can stand in an asana 1 minute, 2 minutes to 5 minutes. We should not race against that, but we should race against ourselves to feel more comfortable. That is where you should remember that asana is where you need to be stable, sthira and comfortable, which is sukha. Pranayama is the fourth limb of the Ashtanga Yoga. So pranayama as an anga itself is a very, very important aspect when it comes to yoga. A simple definition says pranasya ayamaha pranayamaha. That means that which can control the breath or the life force, which is prana, is pranayama. So it's a tool basically. And Patanjali, he explains pranayama this way. The sutra goes like this: Tasmin sati shvasa prashvasayoho gatirvichhedaha pranayamaha. What is pranayama? Tasmin sati shvasa prashvasayoho. The whole component of shvasa and prashvasa, that is inhalation and exhalation, is pranayama. But what does it do? It stops and alters the gati, or the total movement of the prana or the life force, because there are various types of pranayama. And what does it do? It does breath regulation. Therefore, the terminology explained for pranayama is called regulatory breathing. And this is where different types of pranayama are also based. One of the very common pranayama practiced is Nadi Shuddhi pranayama. Now what does it do? Nadi Shuddhi. Nadi are the Ida and the Pingala nadis. The right nostril and the right nostril denote the Ida and the Pingala nadis. So when these both have to be balanced, then Nadi Shuddhi pranayama is advocated. Likewise, there are different types of pranayama, which includes Brahmari, which includes different practices such as Shitali, Shitkari and Sadanta as well. Any pranayama for that matter regulates our breathing, and therefore they have a lot of positive impact on the nervous system and are very essential and crucial elements when we also help people heal themselves from many lifestyle disorders. Therefore, let's remember that pranayama is a very crucial and important practice and an element of yoga.
The fifth limb of Ashtanga Yoga is Pratyahara. Maharshi Patanjali explains Pratyahara in Patanjali Yoga Sutras in the form of 2 shlokas. The shlokas goes here. Svavishya samprayoge chittasya sarupanukara eva indriyanam pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal of senses. So in the shloka, Patanjali tries to explain the relationship between the sense organs, senses and the mind. So as our 5 sense organs try to interact with the objects outside, we are able to hear, sense, taste, smell and touch. So and these senses are connected to the mind. So when these senses are not in the control of the mind, they take mind also to harm. So at this point, the person is not mindful. The second shloka of Maharshi Patanjali's Pratyahara goes like this. Tatah paramavashyata indriyana pratyahara. This shloka talks about mastering the senses with the practice of pratyahara. Yogic practices like meditation, chantings and yoga nidra, trataka help in achieving the pratyahara. The theme of Ashtanga Yoga is dharana, which means focus and concentration. Maharshi Patanjali explains dharana in one shloka. Desabandaha chittasya dharana, which means chitta, the mind is extremely wavering. To engage mind in one place is by dharana. Dharana is brought by yogic practices like antaranga trataka, bahiranga trataka, meditation and chantings.
And the last stage of Ashtanga Yoga is Samadhi. The meaning of Samadhi is bliss or enlightenment. The continuation of dhyana is becoming Samadhi, where you will be having the awareness on one particular thing which you were practicing during dhyana is becoming Samadhi, where you will lose your physical body. Tadeva artha matra nirbhasan swarupa shunyamiva Samadhi. That means when you are in the stage of Samadhi, you will not have the awareness on your own existence. That means you will not have the awareness on your physical body. You will have the continuation awareness on the thing which you were practicing in dhyana is becoming the samadhi. So in this stage of samadhi, you will be feeling the bliss and enlightenment. The Maharshi Patanjali has given all these 8 steps of Ashtanga Yoga to enlighten our soul. We are truly practicing all these steps without miss. We are truly gonna experience the bliss and enlightenment.